Hello everyone, I've got for you a review of the White Barn Spring, White Barn Garden, White Barn Floral, not really sure what the collection name is, but the White Barn collection that is currently testing should be released soon, I would imagine, wide. It's sort of similar to last year's White Barn collection, the Gold Lid collection that had mostly florals, a little bit of some slightly fresh things, and they're toying around with some slightly sweet foody kind of things that could cross different collections, but that don't exactly fit in, say, Spring Street Sweet Shop, or things like that. There's also there is some direct crossover. For instance, this collection has Lilac Blossom, which is also in Fresh Picked. It has Watermelon Lemonade, which is in Spring Street Sweet Shop. So the White Barn collections usually are kind of strange like that. They're kind of a mishmash, not always having a ton of focus, but they at least always have White Barn across the board will have the same sort of like labeling and things like that. Now the one weird thing is that there's White Barn Gold Lid, not this exact same type because this is the sort of similar to the Celebrate the Night gold lids from the fall with your creme purplini and champagne toast and black tie and party dress and all that. But there's a I wouldn't even call it a line really, but a collection that has just a few things. Like I think it has eucalyptus mint. It has spring, which is also in this collection. Renew and Refresh, which I love, which was at one point White Barn number 3 Renew and Refresh, and before that it was Seashore. Bergamot Woods. I think that maybe it Mahogany Teakwood. Just like 5 or 6 sort of core scents that aren't part of the floral collection, aren't necessarily spring, just kind of core scents that they're having released just kind of sporadically, randomly, not in one major cohesive collection. I'll put an image in here of the Renew and Refresh that's in that label because it's a different label than this. It's kind of the shape of the font actually, and the shape of where the candle name is different on those. So I'm not really sure what more will be coming to those, but I think they're just kind of old returning favorites that they don't want to throw within a collection. Now this collection, I'm going to call it White Barn Floral or White Barn Spring. Currently, as from what I've seen, there are 9 scents in this. Could be more, but I'll go through. I'll describe the scents that I didn't purchase, give you quick notes and my kind of sniff advice on those. But the reason I didn't purchase them is either I think there's one that I should have disliked, but for the most part they are returning fragrances, so that's why I didn't feel the need to purchase them. So first up, Lilac Blossom. Nice classic. Last year. It came out last year, it comes out every year. It's in the Fresh Pit collection this year. The notes in that are celebrate early spring with one of its most beautiful flowers, lushly fragrant lilac and a bouquet of lily of the valley, and violet leaves. So really nice, pure lilac blossom. Everyone smelled that. The other one in there is Honeysuckle, which I love and is also in Fresh Picked. Inspired by a beautiful flower garden, this spring blend combines sweet honeysuckle vines, peony petals, and weeping willow. I really love Honeysuckle, but I didn't need to get it because I've got it from last year, and it's already wide, or about to be wide at least, in the Fresh Picked collection, so no need to grab that. Then, of course, Spring, which came back in that weird sort of White Barn Core collection, and then also in this, which is listed this year, a delicate blend of light rain, yellow daisy, and sycamore woods that contains the freshness of the season. I've done more in-depth reviews on Spring in the past. Really enjoy it. Borderline must-have. Kind of getting tired of it at this point. If it didn't come back, I wouldn't be crying a river. But I didn't need to purchase it because I still have at least 1 or 2 from past years. Let's see, what else is in this? Watermelon Lemonade. I didn't like it with Lakeside Collection. I don't like it this year with Spring Street Sweet Shop. And I don't like it in this White Barn. I think it's really out of place in this collection. It's not floral. It's not really springy. It's not garden. The notes are refresh your thirst for spring with this pleasing mixture of watermelon ice, sparkling water, and freshly squeezed Meyer lemons. I know some people love it. A lot of people I think feel similar to me where it's just kind of blah. But others love it, so that's in this collection. And then, let's see, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Then the 5th one, the only new blend that I didn't purchase is Sundress. It's got sort of bright, almost like daisy sort of generic flowers in the front. It's kind of light blue wax. And I was hoping maybe it would be sunflower or flower shop or hydrangea or something that we haven't seen for a while. But I'm pretty sure it's a new blend. And the notes are easy and breezy as a sunny day in the garden. This blend of bright daylilies, tonka beans, and bright bergamot is a beautiful new style of fragrance. Bergamot is kind of a citrus that leans towards more, body fragrance as far as like a perfume or cologne. Lilies, okay, floral. And tonka beans are kind of a richer, darker vanilla, kind of. A little bit more of a woodsy or damp vanilla, I suppose. When I sniffed it, I was trying to like it, but really it just came off too generic, kind of like a Paris Daydream version 3.0. Sort of new, but been there, done that. I had no need for that, so I didn't really like that one. So that's the first 5. That leaves us with the 4 you see in front of you, which I am going to now dive into. Now, Sugarberry Spritzer, Pink Petal Tea Cake, Garden Party, and Bloom. I'll say 2 are new. 1 is a straight up, sort of repackage, and the 4th one is what I think might be a repackage with a twist. But it's good, so we'll leave it. Let's start with Sugarberry Spritzer. Now, the light is quickly escaping us, so I'm going to try to get through this quickly before it gets too dark in here. Sugarberry Spritzer. A lot of people are excited about this one. It's it's a fun name. It's interesting. There are, I believe, what is that? Is it a hyacinth or hydrangea? I think it's hydrangea florals there. And then just little maybe violets or something. There's some lavender buds on there, and it's just a light purple wax. And the notes are, offer your guests a special treat, a Sugarberry Spritzer. This springy, effervescent blend captures the fun and festivity of a garden party in sparkling water, sugar berries, and elderflowers. I'm thinking garden party might be the collection name, because you could have watermelon lemonade there, you could have your pink petal tea cake there, you if you're a woman, would wear a sundress there, or a drag queen. And things would be in full bloom. So I think I'm going to say it's probably garden party collection. Just guessing. So this one, I'm like super losing focus today. Back to this one. So it's purple candle, and they're saying sparkling water. So they're saying effervescent, but basically sugar berries. Which, what is a sugar berry? Is it berries that have sugar rubbed in them? I don't know. And elderflowers. Now, elderflower. Quickly before I sniff this, since a lot of people don't know what elderflower is, it is generally in France. It is a flower that is picked, in the countryside. I think the tale goes that old men handpick the flowers because they're so delicate, and quite often, most often, they're turned into elderflower liqueur, which is it reminds me a bit of like a sweeter, more floral kind of, not citrusy, just a sweeter kind of chamomile almost, like without the heaviness or powderiness of chamomile. Kind of sweeter and bright, a little bit like a sweet Moscato grape kind of flavor to it. But elderflower liqueur is really nice in cocktails. Obviously, it's an alcoholic beverage, liquid liqueur, and it's really great mixed either with a little bit of champagne. It's really good in margaritas, sort of in place of triple sec, with some gin like Hendrick's gin. It's really delicious, and even in like Manhattans or whiskey cocktails with Maker's Mark or Bullet bourbon. It just adds a touch of floral and a nice bit of sweetness. It's a really delicate but wonderful. It's like my mouth is watering. It's a really, really great flavor. So that's elderflower. And actually, if you've been to IKEA, IKEA, strangely enough, with their lingonberry juice that they have there, they also sell like little juice boxes of elderflower juice boxes, and it's like a light, small, almost like a honeysuckle size flower, very small, yellow, and the juice or liqueurs are basically kind of a clear pale yellow. And again, the juice box, like straight up just the juice, it kind of tastes like your generic kind of pear, grapefruit kind of kids juice like that. But anyhow, I love it. So I was really excited to hear that it's sugar berries with elderflower. So that made me want to go towards this way. Sniffing this, no, I'll show you here. It's, again, really nice kind of lilac purple wax, just so you can get a good hint on that. It's extremely light, so that bums me out first thing. I don't dislike it. There's no powder to it, which is good. I'd say it's kind of, there's really little to no effervescence, which I was hopeful because they sometimes get effervescence right when they do cranberry pear Bellini, summertime soda. They can really get a nice effervescence in their candles. Sometimes, other times it's not so much. Champagne Toast had very little, even though I liked it. I can barely smell this candle. What I smell, I generally like. It's a little bit slightly grapey, or kind of like the Moscato wine, kind of like that kind of green sweetness, like a little tartness to it. I tried comparing it to like some of the sweet shop soaps because I was thinking maybe it'd be like your plumberry, where are we? Your plumberry sorbet, or your pink vanilla macaroon. Sorry, macaron. Goodness, let me catch myself on that. Sugarberry shortcake. It's really not like any of those. Maybe close to the plumberry sorbet. Let me get a quick sniff on this one. Super, super watered down. I think it's just the purple color playing a trick on me. But I would say this is kind of similar to watermelon lemonade for me in that it's so light. I mean, if you say that sparkling water is one of your notes, there better be effervescence because otherwise your note is water, and if it's not a flavored water, it is flavorless, gang. So what are you thinking? Yeah, I don't really get much of a berry, like a tiny hint, again, of like a Moscato grape. Tiniest bit of sugar, tiniest bit of spritzer. It's like not much going on there. Maybe when it burns will be nicer. I'm a little concerned that it may be like some of the Spring Street Sweet Shop collection where I actually was burning the pink lemonade pound cake today. I blew it out. I'm going to take it back. Now, for the probably 60, 80, 120, I don't know how many candles I buy there every year. For the tons of candles that I buy there, I rarely take them back. Maybe 4 to 5 per year I'll return for super poor burn or just something I end up sniffing and then just hating before I even light it. I hate to take them back after I've lit them. But with that one, I got no fragrance on it for the second time I burned it. I blew it out and I could smell it a little bit. So I'm thinking that, I know this is off track, but I'm thinking that maybe it's the new candles, they have the great pool, but they're burning too hot, so that they're actually burning up the fragrance oils instead of us being able to smell them. Because again, once the wax was still fully pulled but no flames were going, I could smell it a little bit more in my house. But when the flames were going, it's just like the flames were big. It was only lit for maybe 45 minutes, so it wasn't too long, but it had a nice deep pool, but I think it was burning too hot and just burning up the fragrance oils, so I couldn't even smell them. So that, I think, is going back to the store. And some of the other ones were light as well, so I'm not super hopeful for those. But the only one I know for sure, if anyone is wondering, is Pink Lemonade Pound Cake, kind of a fail for me. I'm worried that this may be the same way. I'm not even sure that I don't even know that I should bother burning it because it's so light. I can't imagine it having much of a throw. And again, I don't like to return candles. My point, I've always said, is not to buy candles, to review them and then return them, because I think that's a waste of their time. It's a waste of my time. It's just pointless. So maybe I'll return it before I light it, just because, of course, then they could resell it. But yeah, it's inoffensive, but it's so light. Like, again, send this one to Walmart. Again, I mean, hey, some folks say they're great candles at Walmart, so maybe not. Send this to the bargain bin because it doesn't have much of a scent for me. Then we move on to Pink Petal Tea Cake. Not really sure what that means. I know there's like rose water sometimes in bakery items. It's not super common. Rose isn't really like, one of the florals that you'd want to eat. Not that you want to eat many florals, but lavenders and, a fair amount of things and whatnot. But I don't like much rose in general. But again, back on track here. Pink Petal Tea Cake. It's hard to actually see kind of what the label is. It's sort of, sorry, I'm looking up close, tea petals on like some sort of like, almost like a baklava bakery item that has like sliced blanched almonds maybe or something. I don't know. But Pink Petal Tea Cake, pink wax. The notes are, tea for two becomes even sweeter with the fragrance of a pink petal tea cake made from garden rose petals, freshly baked cake, and vanilla glaze. So let me sniff it. Get the lid off, gosh. This is another one that is so light. It does have a true rose, like a rose water. Donovan, the bronze blogger, mentioned that he got kind of like a rose water glaze from his, and I agree, because luckily there's no powdery kind of floral to it, which I wouldn't like. Roses can be headache-inducing. Some people, they're usually a love or hate in home fragrance. but it's light. Bakery, almost like a petite four kind of bakery, maybe like a small little cake, but I wouldn't really call this a bakery candle, even though it's called cake. Again, light, inoffensive. It's kind of sweet. They're going after like, a garden party, little, for little girls or big girls, whatever. I don't care. Anyone, garden party, whatever. But like a sweet garden party in late spring kind of thing. And I like the idea of that. It's a sweet marketing, but they've got to work on these blends because this is just not. It's not enough for me. It's not strong enough. Again, it could just be that I'm not the right person for these. I'm not the person who would love them, but I think I could get into them if they were stronger. It's just if you can barely sniff them, it doesn't fare well when we're actually burning. So again, those two I don't know. If anyone has them already and is burning them or has sniffed them, I'd love to hear your opinions on them because at this point I'm not sure that I'm going to keep them. Let's move on to happier things. First up, let's go Bloom. Save Garden Party for last, since that's I think what the collection is, right? So Bloom, here we are. Just bright peonies, actually, I believe is what we're seeing there. And I'm not getting much focus. Come on. Peonies, a nice green wax, and fragrance notes. Enjoy the newest spring blooms with this fresh floral blend of peonies, lily of the valley, and a hint of dewy pear. Right up my alley. I enjoy peonies. Lily of the Valley is an inoffensive, enjoyable, for the most part, floral. Dewy pear, when you add dewy or blossoms into florals, or some fruits like that, I'm usually going to love it. And oh boy, this is top notch. I'm happy to say that this is, surprise, a complete repackage of First Bloom. Came out first in the 2012 floral collection. Again, I mentioned in my last video about the Garden Provence video with the French lavender and all that there was 2012 had Orchard Petal and Pink Tulip and Flower Shop and First Bloom and let's see, Garden Bouquet was first last year. First Bloom, of course, Spring, Green Grass. My favorite drenched apple flower. Really nice floral collection that year, in addition to your standard lilac and honeysuckle and all of those. But Bloom it's a floral, but it really is the first spring candle that I feel comfortable lighting, or at least the first floral candle that I feel comfortable lighting because it's really authentic. It doesn't smell like potpourri. And for me, sometimes florals can lean towards a potpourri. Like, 1992 in a fancy restaurant powder room with, old wallpaper on the wall. Whereas this is it's for being a floral, it is green, but it is unabashedly a floral. So it's not trying to, be best of both worlds. The dewy pear, not pear in the typical sense, or at least in the typical Bath and Body Works sense, because I think they kind of aren't too great at pears. Or at least I really haven't liked the past couple of pure pear candles they've released in the past year or two. But this, again, it's got the peony, which is a big, beautiful flower, but doesn't have a super intense smell. Kind of sweet. Definitely sweet as far as florals go. I suppose, what was it, the Lily of the Valley? I think, yeah, another sweet. Yeah, if you haven't smelled this, definitely grab it. I think it's fantastic. It's a sweet floral. It's dewy. It does have some greens to it. The pear helps. Almost like it could have a little bit of an apple blossom. Not apple, but like an apple blossom. Very much like dewdrops, first early morning kind of scent. And it's just, I wish they would throw like a tea note in there, like a green tea or a white tea note. Maybe tone down some of the floral, and then it could be something else entirely, which could be beautiful. But either way, I really like it. I was worried it wasn't going to come back since we weren't seeing this collection until recently after, Aloha Waikiki and Sweet Shop and Destinations line and Fresh Picked and all that. But because last year it was in the Fresh Picked collection, but it is in the White Barn Garden Party, and I'm very happy to see it come back. Then we move on to the star of the show today, at least for me, which is Garden Party. Now, you hear that, I was like, okay, well, we haven't heard from Garden Bouquet. He hasn't RSVP'd yet to our party. We haven't heard from Flower Shop, which, rest in peace. That candle came out in 2011, came back in 2012. Don't know what they're thinking. Again, that's in my Winter Garland, Vanilla Spice, eucalyptus citrus, toasted almond, flower shop, mango cilantro. Like those 6 or 7 scents are my what are you thinking Bath and Body Works? Why aren't those scents out? Why did they drop off the face of the Bath and Body Works store? Because they're also good. But Flower Shop is a fantastic scent. So bummed we haven't seen it back last year. So far not this year. So I was hoping maybe it could be Garden Bouquet, which we haven't seen, which was really nice last year, or Flower Shop, or maybe something new entirely. So let's talk about it before I sniff it. White wax, looking yellow here, but it is a pure white wax, I can assure you that. Just a ton of flowers there, floral, so I was like, ugh, hope it's not too floral or powdery. It says here, you're cordially invited to enjoy a blend of pink garden roses and pear blossoms wrapped in soft musk. Now the notes, I would not be, if I was just judging on notes, pear blossom sounds nice, but garden roses and soft musk, yowza. Don't know about that. But when I sniff it, I would say this is, wow, I'm getting the pear blossom now more than before. When I first sniffed this in the store, I was thrilled because I thought it was a Flower Shop repackage coming back. The same way that I was thrilled that from Coastal Cool Beach Collection, Suntan is Beachside coming back. I was like, oh, finally, one of my top 10 oldies but goodies is coming back. I thought this was a Flower Shop. Wasn't positive. Let's actually compare. I have a little 4-ounce Flower Shop. This had to be from the first year. It was out, I think, 2011. Ugly candle. It was a little 4-ounce Lac & Co. It was kind of pretty with a pink lid. And then just this wrap of like Shrinky Dink Easter egg wrap, like Flower Power, 70s child label. But it was really cheap. I got it at some annual sale back a couple of years ago. The notes on Flower Shop were, how fantastic is this? The delightful scent of, focus, the delightful scent of fresh cut spring flowers, sweet lilac, pink freesia, and hyacinth, layered with cooling greens. Man alive. Flower Shop, it reminds me tiny bit of a funeral home, which is strange. I don't like funeral homes, but because, that's where, when you're a kid, where do you smell so many flowers? Maybe church, maybe funeral home. But let's say it really is a Flower Shop. Now this was a test scent. It was one of the first test scent orders I did before I even went to a test store. And I grabbed, I think it was Flower Shop, toasted almond, eucalyptus citrus, and maybe verbena waters or something like that. It had to be 2010, I think. No, maybe it was 2011. Early 2011. Yeah, 2011. And I just like toasted almond, eucalyptus citrus, Flower Shop. They were so great, these candles. Flower Shop, it is floral without being powdery. It is a true, authentic, it's like you're walking into a flower shop. It's the perfect name. And you get the cooling greens, but it's not artificial. It's not them trying to throw in a dew bead or, again, the blossoms. It is really, you're sniffing a true vase with flowers in it that have their greens cut, or that there's a stack of, flower stems that have been cut, on the counter of the flower shop. That's really what you smell. And it makes me angry. I really, really love it. Now, Garden Party, I don't think it's exactly that. I'm bummed to say that. But it's close enough that it doesn't replace it. Bath & Body Works doesn't get my thumbs up on that, but it's very close. It's basically like a less authentic sister to Flower Shop. There's less of the greens, much more. The more I smell this, I'm smelling much more of the pear blossom. Almost pear, not even pear blossom. It's got a little bit of powder, maybe from the rose. Lily of the Valley, it reminds me a bit of, there's a hint of bloom, like in that kind of sweet green floral. The way the bloom has the peony. Maybe peony is kind of a sweeter, lighter floral that has a bit of a freshness. Not so much green, but freshness to it. And I get that. Flower Shop is just, this one, it smells old, but yeah, it's a light floral, not as sweet or wet as bloom. More of like the pear blossom to it. Now I also thought it could be Garden Bouquet, which I have here. The notes on that one, I really liked this one last year too. I don't know why it didn't come back. The prettiest flowers from your local farmer's garden: hyacinth, white rose, lily, jasmine. Turn this fragrance into a delicate delight. It's very similar notes. Although Garden Bouquet is much more fresh picked than Floral. It's more, I mean, the label kind of is perfect for this. It is green, it is yellow, it is, like I said before in other videos, Garden Bouquet to me is if you're a kid and you get a daisy or something, and you just see this part and you just kind of scratch the actual flower. 'Cause, I don't know, I was a weird kid. You just scratch that part and then you smell. That's kind of what you're smelling, like where all the pollen is in the very center. What is it, the stamen or something of the candle, or the flower? That's what that is to me. Garden Bouquet is very much, it's the florals, but it's a heavy, heavy green freshness to it. And Garden Party, sorry for the focus, is a little bit of that. It's kind of like, it's like a third Flower Shop, a third Garden Bouquet, and a third, I'll almost give it Drenched Apple Flower because of that Pear Blossom, which I'm pretty sure was in Drenched Apple Flower. So it's very nice. It kind of pales in comparison to each of those three, only because it's a little bit more generic, because it kind of is, it builds on all of those. But at the same point, you know, in the store, I sniffed it, I loved it. So folks who either have never smelled Flower Shop or who, again, really enjoyed Flower Shop but don't have, you know, an old one to sniff it to exactly compare like a crazy person like I do, they're going to smell it and really enjoy it, I believe. If you liked that, you'll like Garden Party. So I do like it. Definitely, gosh, the Pear Blossom is really sticking out to me today. But it's good. So again, the review on this, this is a weird collection. I kind of think it's necessary. You need these floral, sort of springy, fresh, green fragrances in the spring collection. Florals aren't always my favorite, but if they're done well, like anything else, I will latch on and love them. I think it's a little weird that they're going the Garden Party route and trying to throw in things like the tea cake or the spritzer, only because they're, at least I think, kind of poorly executed. I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me on that. Again, this isn't me hating on the bakery. You see what I've been buying lately. I don't mind bakery, and I love effervescent or spritzery or kind of drink things, or if there was really elderflower notes in the spritzer. But they're just too light for me. If they could ramp those up like, you know, 100%, then I could probably get into them and they'd be really nice scents. But for now, not so great. The florals, definitely Garden Party, Bloom. Lilac Blossom's nice. Honeysuckle's nice. You know, I'll grab them if I run out, if I need them, but right now I've got enough from past years. But definitely Bloom is a must-have, and Garden Party is also quite good. So I really enjoy those ones. I guess that's probably about it for now. Nothing in the hopper, no candles left for me to review at this point. I've reviewed everything I've purchased up until now, at least. Not sure what, if anything's on the horizon. So until next time, if you have any comments, questions, hit me up below. Let's continue the conversation at facebook.com/TouchTheFireTwice. Feel free to disagree with me, ask other questions, and we'll go from there. And until next time, take care.